What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about XRP today. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it. Okay, let's talk about the price action here. Here we are at about $2.32, just below there, down 21% on the week. I don't know, man. You guys seem to be holding up better than most cryptos, honestly. I think most cryptos are down less than 21%, but let's just see. Let me check that out here real quick on a weekly basis. 10%. But still, if we look at this thing from December, you're at significantly lower lows. You're all the way back to like your high points from October. XRP, what I mean by it's holding up, I mean you're holding up well. You've got higher lows, not lower lows, since December, which is again more than I could say for most people. So even though you're down 21%, it really doesn't feel like you're down that much. You're still sitting on top of cloud 9 here. Looking at the weekly RSI, this whole time you've been chilling, you've been cooling off on the weekly RSI, and yet finding higher lows in the weekly price. 20 hours left. It would be nice if this weekly candle could pull up a little bit, but hey man, if you close here, that's okay. You probably do go just a little bit lower, right? Daily time frame, daily RSI, looks like you've rejected the overbought zone. Now you're back below the 50, pointed downwards. Yes, I think that you will. And not only did you reject the overbought zone, but you rejected this 55 area here, lower highs, kind of lower lows, getting below the 50. I think that you will go lower. Will you go below the 40? I don't know. Will you go to the oversold zone? I'm not anticipating it, right? Probably a move that does not take you below this low here. Or if it does, let's see. How low could you go? Right? This is that area, that diagonal line. If you were to go here and find support at $2, cool. It wouldn't surprise me at all, actually, if you went a little bit lower. Maybe you do go even just below this low, just below $2. Enough. It would be a perfect capitulative event here where a lot of XRP people who are tourists, not long-term investors, they're just traders, speculators, whatever, they would look for a bounce like this. They think they're so smart and this diagonal line is going to hold up as support. Oh, and then if it breaks, if this line breaks, then clearly something's wrong with XRP. If this low breaks, clearly something's wrong with XRP and it's going to zero. That's not true. None of that's happening. Oftentimes with these diagonal lines, you will like kind of consolidate around them and then break below it. As soon as you break below it, that's where you find support. Now you could find a double bottom. Of course you could find a double bottom, but the diagonal line is not what I'd like you to focus on, okay? It is the horizontal lines where you found support here, support there, support even here. And that could take you, today if you went there, okay, maybe you bounce right off the diagonal line. You proved me wrong. It's a bad point, but I would say you're not bouncing off the diagonal line. You're bouncing off prior areas of support, okay? And finding higher lows, maintaining higher lows. If it happens in the coming days, not today, then yes, you will go below that line. And then $2 would hold. That's a nice psychological level of support as well. If $2 breaks, not only would that be a psychological break of support on $2, but you'd be breaking below this line and breaking below that low there. That would really cause a lot of scare. And I think the tourists, it would shake them out. All the paper hands would get out. And then the people, the strong hands, the diamond hands, they would come in. They'd come into play. The real bulls, not the young bulls, man. I had enough of the old bull. Now I want the young calf. No, let's see. From a high to a low, getting to the 786 down to the 382. It's possible. It actually is possible. You could find support right here. I don't think you do. We'll look at the short-term time frames, but also with the 786, these kind of rejections, they almost always interact with the 236 and even below there. So $2 around like $2.08, just below $2, right at $2. Are you going to go below this low? I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if you went below it. It wouldn't surprise me if you stayed above it, but something lower, something a little bit lower. I don't think that you're done here. Let's look at the 4-hour time frame because there is a chance you could find support here. No, the 4-hour suggests you're going to go lower, in my opinion. Right? You've already broken through. Here's another diagonal line that nobody cares about, but some people might. Is this line, right? You've broken out of that. We've broken our uptrend. XRP's dead. No, it's a 4-hour diagonal line. It doesn't matter. 1-hour time frame also, yes, look at that, bearish as hell, staying and living below the 50. You did get overbought for a time, but you've been oversold a couple times here. I think you're going to get a deep reading here pretty soon, which means you'll probably see a bigger move overall than something that you've experienced so far. I'm not saying you'll experience a bigger 1-hour candle than this. I just mean as far as you've come down here, I bet you'll see a more aggressive move to the downside over the coming days, probably over today. It might happen today, but I would think over the coming days. XRP is going to move down a little bit lower. I very much do not believe that you move below this low here at $1.80. I wouldn't be surprised if you move below $1.95. But it's very possible that you could still find support above $2 or around $2. Something, if I had to guess, it's like you're going to go either to like $2.10 or $1.90, somewhere in that range, right? That's probably where you're going to go. You could find a double bottom here. You don't have to go below that low. Again, you don't even have to go much lower. Technically, XRP is at a point where any day now, any week now, you are going to break out to new all-time highs. It's coming. It's literally coming. We just don't know when, right? And I would assume, being very fearful in the crypto markets, bullish narratives happening, everybody's like, why isn't the price pumping? People are getting bored. They're going to try to make plays, and oftentimes when people try to move things around, that's when things are risky. People think that it's more risky to just sit on your hands and do nothing, because when you're, and here's the fault. Here's something I've learned, and these words I'm paraphrasing, but this line of thinking I largely derived from Eric Crown Crypto. I love that guy, man. I really think that he's brilliant. And he's learned from people too. I'm sure he's not the most, like, he didn't originally think of this. Maybe he did. I don't know. But if we look him up here, I'm going to get back to the point. Okay. I'm going to get back to the point. I hope I remember what the point was, but Eric Crown Crypto here. Eric Crown Crypto. This guy. Yeah. Playlists. This psychology series. Where are you at, buddy? Where are you at here? Trading psychology series. Even if you're not a trader, if you're just an investor, I think this is great. I think this is phenomenal because it applies, and maybe not every video applies to investors, but you should. I think it's 53 videos. You could binge watch this in a day or two, man. It's great. He's a very well put together and I think smart individual, but just I recommend this series specifically all the time. What he says, something that I've derived from him even before he made that series, because I've been following him for a while, is that as a trader, as an investor, you feel like it's your job to trade. It's your job to invest. If you're sitting on your hands, you're not doing your job, because when in life, and again, he doesn't say this exact thing, I'm paraphrasing, I'm just taking like the point and using my own words. When in life, when you do a job, when you're doing something that involves money, are you doing a good job if you're just doing nothing? Never, right? You have to do something. You got to get up and do something. You got to be productive. And that's where it's a real psychological game here. It's like psychological warfare on you with your finances, because you are doing your job. Most likely you're doing your job the best way if you just let things play out how they're supposed to play out, right? The more that you try to play the game and buy and sell and make something happen instead of letting it happen, sticking to your game plan that you originally had, and you try to force something else because things might not go 100% the way that you think, that's when the risk really goes up. The risk, and that's what feels opposite in our brains, right? This is why I'm bringing it up, is you might feel like it's more risky to not do anything. You haven't done anything so far. You've been sitting on your hands for however long. I don't know. You thought you should sell and you didn't, and that didn't play out for you. So now you get the bright idea, not really so bright of an idea, to sell at relatively low points throughout this whole range, right? Even if we go lower than what I'm expecting we do, inevitably we're going to move up. You might sell here, and if we go all the way down here, you're going to feel super smart, but are you going to buy down here? Obviously, in retrospect or in prospective thinking, you would think that, of course, I would sell here and then buy here. What, am I an idiot? But when reality hits, when the moment hits, what if this drop is very, very fast? What if it's a quick drop down like that? Happens in an hour. Are you going to buy then? Are you going to have the balls to buy then? What if after that hour, what if over the next 4 hours, it's back up at higher prices? Are you going to FOMO buy? And then what if it's volatile? What if it comes back? There's all these kinds of things. Are you not going to FOMO buy? Most people probably wouldn't. They'd be like, I'm just going to wait for the price to come back to where I sold and then buy back in. And then it just keeps going up. Don't play this game. I'm getting stressed. I'm getting worked up just talking about it, man, let alone actually doing it. I can't imagine how stressful that is, because I've done that before. You have a game plan. You know where XRP is going to go. Why mess it up? It's going to go to a slightly lower price. If you have $10,000 in XRP, and I'm just using that as a round number. Some of you probably have $1,000. Some of you have less. Some of you have probably millions of dollars in XRP, right? Regardless of how much money you have, even if you're fully deployed, I'm sure most of us, by the time that XRP comes down here, you will have something, a little bit something extra that if you wanted to, you could deploy into this. It's just a better opportunity to buy. And if you don't have it that way, if you don't have capital down here and you're not looking to deploy it, I mean, man, you could have $100. That's still more than enough, because this thing's going to do likely more than a 10x by the end of this cycle, right? So $100 could turn into 1,000. Like that's worth it in my opinion, especially if you just have to sleep to let it happen. You don't really have to work. Like that's maximizing your profit potentials, right? I don't care how much money you have. But even if you don't have extra capital to put in here, what's the worst? Like the worst thing you're gonna have to do is just sit on your hands and wait. And it feels counterproductive because normally to be productive you have to make things happen. But the worst thing you can do is try to force things. And this is a quote that I made myself, and I'm sure I'm not the only person that said this in crypto or in stocks. I bet this is not original, but I came up with it on my own. I'm sure other people have said it, that the fastest way to lose money in crypto is to try to make money fast. The fastest way to make money in crypto is to try and do it slowly. Be patient, okay? Be patient. There's a reason why I'm focusing on this so much. I don't want to see you guys mess this up. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but I don't want to see people mess this up when it matters most. And it does matter because the clock is ticking. We're coming to that point where we are about to break out and see new highs. I promise you. I can't promise you. I say that all the time. I'm just that confident. It just comes out of me whenever I say it. I'm very confident. This is my third bull cycle. What do I know, right? No, just because I have 3 bull cycles underway doesn't mean that I'm some kind of prophet or I know everything. But I've been through this before. I've seen this kind of stuff. I've seen the boredom. And the reality is, guys, XRP moved up for 3 months in a row. And it's been consolidating for a very short amount of time. So if you are a tourist, I know I'm speaking to the wrong community whenever I say bored. You guys are more than patient if you've been holding this thing. I'm sure this is nothing compared to what you've endured already. Don't get me wrong. And beyond that, the ridicule and the doubt and everybody saying XRP is a dead coin, people recognize it now, right? People recognize it a lot more. But to the tourists out there, you bought this thing, even if you bought at the absolute high at $3.40, you bought this thing for a reason. That reason still stands. There's nothing fundamentally different about XRP now than there was 2 months ago, other than the fact it's in the United States Crypto Reserve. Your best dreams came true. You should be celebrating at the thought that you could buy this thing at even lower prices. And if you can't, at the very least, it'll all be over soon. You're probably going to move up. Man, $2 really is a solid area of support, isn't it? Right here on a monthly closing basis, right there at $1.99. That's crazy. I will be surprised. I would be surprised if you got away too far from $2. I wouldn't be surprised if you went a little bit below there, but too far away from there. You're not going to be, if you get below this line, it won't be long-lived. And you might not even go below that line. But when it does come time to going higher, everybody's favorite thing to talk about, let's talk about it, right? XRP likely moves up to targets immediately, like by the end of this month, going into next month. By the end of next month, you're going to be at targets that are $6.41, $11, $13 and beyond. If anybody's like $6.41, when did that become a target? You're going to hit that area on your way to $11 to $13. I think this is where you're going to stop, is this zone. Okay, don't get me wrong, this move's going to stop there. But before you do, you might find turbulence along the way, right? You could find turbulence at these key areas and work your way up there, stuff like that, right? The way that I just drew that would have you in March of 2026. I don't think it'll take that much time. I have it on a monthly basis. It's harder to draw the weekly timeframes and stuff like that, but you get the picture, right? I'm just saying you could find turbulence here. Just because you stop at 641 doesn't mean the move's over. I mean, maybe you stop at 641 and the move's over, but I doubt that. You're breaking out to new all-time highs. You got more to go, is my thoughts here. And beyond that, overall, you are breaking out to new all-time highs. From this high that held for multiple cycles, from a high to a low, your minimum target here would be at 837. If you go above this, and that to me is the minimum target. If you go above this, and I do think you go above this, you will see $10.71 to 14 or 13.30, something in that area. Okay. The reason why I'm confident on that is, first off, XRP is bullish as hell. It's only gotten more bullish, not more bearish, you guys. It's only gotten more bullish since it's been in these areas. You're consolidating around the 886-100. Oftentimes, this is a very bullish phase of consolidation that does lead you to break through your 1272. Okay. Not stop at it. But sometimes you stop at it. You never know. But that's all I got. That's all I wanted to say. If you guys like the video, hit the like button. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. The final push, I shouldn't even say the final push because we already had the final push down. It was back on February 3rd. But the final push relative to these like past few days here, it's coming. It'll probably resolve itself sometime next week. Not today. I mean, maybe today. Who knows? The earlier the better. But probably resolve itself over the next week. Prices around $2.08 to $2 or $1.90 is what we're looking for. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care of yourselves, and please, oh please, do not sell the lows, you guys. Lows are for buying, highs are for selling. We are around our highs. Sure, we're at the relative highs now, but we got a lot more. We're gonna get much higher, you guys. Trust me. I live in Colorado. I know what it means. I know what it takes to get much higher. We're gonna get much higher. Don't you worry about it. Okay, bye-bye.